Hey family, today I am sharing a Monday morning message with you all in the spirit of raising awareness and consciousness in our communities around deaths related to overdosing. For those of you who listen to the podcast and have been following us pretty closely, we lost a dear brother of ours in this community, Silvio Acevedo, just about 6 months ago. And his death was related to an accidental overdose because what he was taking was unknowingly synthetic fentanyl. And in just the past week, the statistics were released on the past year, and there's been over 100,000 deaths due to accidental overdose in the past year, up almost 30% from the year before. The reason I'm sharing this is because a lot of times, especially in cases like this with Silvio, these circumstances, it's hard to believe that there was nothing we could do to avoid this. And sure, nobody could have anticipated what would have happened. And in an accidental situation, that's the definition of it. It's an accident. But in the past 6 months, I've really looked within myself. I've looked within our community. I've recognized that so often we are masking the pain, the inadequacies, the shame, the guilt that we experience internally with addictive substances and addictive behaviors. In this case, we lost a really dear brother and friend of ours. I wanted to create this message today for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I want to raise awareness about this. And I want to speak to any of you out there who are suffering from some of those feelings internally, feelings of inadequacy, feelings of being lost, not knowing what your purpose is. Silvio was a bright light of a young man, but he was also tormented by a lot of the same things that every single other man I've ever met goes through. The same feelings of inadequacy, the same sense of not knowing what to do with my life. He was just about to turn 28 years old when he passed away in May. So I think about how many of you guys out there are feeling exactly what Silvio felt, feeling exactly the same physiological emotions that he was going through, who are still here, who are maybe finding ways to try and navigate that feeling of shame, of guilt, of lostness that you have. And my prayer is that you guys are finding new and different ways to explore those feelings, leaning more into them instead of away from. Because addiction, substance use, substance abuse are all just ways of avoiding the problems that we're feeling, the feelings that we're facing off with deep inside of ourselves. I know because I've been there myself. I numbed myself out with substances for most of my 20s until I finally found a way to lean in. The thing we all have to remember is that you're not unique. What you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you think about yourself, the dialogue that you have internally, it's not a unique situation. And the only way to find that out is to actually speak about it. And I know that one of the most uncomfortable things could be to open your mouth to ask for help, to share your experience with somebody else, not knowing how it will be received. But what I unequivocally believe to be true is that speaking about it and relating about it is one of the first ways that you can make a difference in your life. And my brother Silvio, when he passed away, he was just beginning to open up about some of these deeper demons that he was dealing with, some of these deeper pains, toils, struggles that he was going through, and then accidents happen. But if there's one thing I'm determined to do, if there's one thing that the moment I found out about Silvio I was determined to do, was to make sure that his life continues to be a gift. That even in his passing, he continues to give a gift that was even greater than what he could have ever given while he was here on this planet in just those short 27 years. And so one way of doing that is raising more awareness about this conversation, creating an invitation for those of you guys who are feeling exactly what I'm describing right now, to step in, to ask for help, to invite somebody like myself into a conversation with you so you don't have to experience or go through it alone. Inviting you to step into our community, where there is a safe space, a judgment-free space, a confidential space for you to speak about exactly what you're experiencing on the inside. And I know that that may feel like a really big jump to take, but I promise you that in communities like the Rising Man, in other communities of men who are doing the same type of work, you're going to be received by men who understand what you're going through, who are not going to judge you, who are also going to lead by example and show you what it looks like to present your ugly, to open yourself up and show all of those parts that feel inadequate, that don't want to be exposed to the outside world, and you'll walk away feeling more whole and complete. I guarantee you. I've seen it. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. So if there's one thing I can ask you to do, it's to hear this message, to recognize that you could easily become a statistic. Any one of us could be living the story that Silvio has lived out. And it would be tragic to have that happen with more men in our community. So number one, I want to raise awareness. Number two, I want to raise more awareness around how we found a way for Silvio's life to continue giving. For those of you who are familiar with our community and our mission, we are set out to initiate a whole generation of men. And one of the ways we do that is our rite of passage called Compass. And in Silvio's honor, we created the Dancing Bee Memorial Scholarship Fund to honor Silvio's memory. He came out and fasted with us 2 months before he passed. And it was one of the most transformative experiences he had in his whole life. Had some wonderful conversations with him when he came off of that mountain, out of that desert. He was a new man. And so we created this scholarship fund in his memory, in his honor, so that we can create opportunities for men who otherwise wouldn't have the availability, the resources, the time, the energy, whatever they needed to go and have an initiatory experience, to open their hearts up to a community of men, to be received by other initiated men. The Dancing Bee Memorial Scholarship Fund is something we created this year so that other men can have experiences that will decrease the incidences of lost brothers, lost men, men who can't find their way. So I'm recording this message also to ask you to consider contributing, to donate to this cause. Even if you're not ready to step in fully yourself, you can make a difference by contributing to the Dancing Bee Memorial Scholarship Fund. Our aim is to raise $20,000 by the end of this year so that we can send several men on a Compass experience, not just next year, but for the next several years. Men who otherwise wouldn't be able to go because they don't have the resources. They don't have what it requires to come out and do this and have this experience with us. And I'm not going to say too much now, but this scholarship fund is also going to evolve into a much bigger project that we'll announce it next year that will bring men's work and rising man experiences and communities and events and make it more accessible to men who don't have the resources to participate in our programs right now. To create opportunities for veterans, to create opportunities for men who've been incarcerated, men who normally wouldn't have access or the ability to participate in programs like these. So this is your opportunity to contribute right now to help support and honor the life of Silvio Acevedo and all of the men who've lost their lives because they couldn't find a way to navigate their own troubles, to let their memory, to let their legacy live on by the differences we make with the men who are still here. So in the spirit of the holiday season, in the spirit of giving, in the spirit of community and generosity, I ask you guys to follow the link that we put in the show notes here to contribute and donate to the Dancing Bee Memorial Scholarship Fund, and to stay tuned for ways that you can continue to give to this community, because the only way that we can impact this type of change, the type of change that we all speak about, that we feel in our hearts, that we know is possible for our community of men and for our expanded and extended global community of humans, is if we do it together. So thank you for hearing this message. Even if you're not ready to donate, please share this message with 5 people you know, so that we can raise awareness about the work that we're doing here, so that we can honor Silvio and all of the other men and women who have gone by the wayside and who are living their legacy through us, the ones who are still here. Send so much love and gratitude to you. Thank you for sharing this message. Big love to my brother Silvio, who we love and think about and miss every single day. And big love to all of those out there who are still struggling in this moment. I'm speaking to you right now, thinking about you, here for you. Lean into this community. Lean into community in general, because together is the way. Much love, many blessings to all of you.